Welcome once again, physics students, to another video. In today's video, we'll be looking at the Unit 2 Physics, VCE Physics Area Study number 3, where students have to design, carry out and report upon a practical investigation, and this video is focusing on the scientific poster. Some VCAA requirements. So first of all, for the Unit 2 scientific poster, students demonstrate their scientific communication skills by presenting the findings of a student-designed scientific investigation and the significance of these findings to both technical and non-technical audiences. The poster may be produced electronically or in hard copy format and should not exceed 600 words. That's really important. Tables, graphs, images, captions, references, acknowledgements, etc. are not included in the word count. Posters are not limited to a particular paper size or number of panels. The priorities for the communication should be conciseness, clarity, and legibility. So VCAA require that students will use the following scientific poster format when representing their investigation. So there are fixed headings and structures that need to be followed for Unit 2 Area Study 3 scientific posters. And one particular requirement from VCAA is the following. The center of the poster will occupy between 20 to 25% of the poster space and will be a one-sentence summary of the major finding of the investigation that answers the investigation question. So the central section of this poster that I've got highlighted at the moment, it's for the communication statement reporting the key findings of the investigation as a one-sentence summary. Physics is not the first science to implement this new scientific poster requirement, and students in the past, in other subjects, have failed to allocate 20 to 25% of their poster space for their one-sentence summary. So please be warned and remember that's a key component required from VCAA. If you check the VCAA website, a link to which will be included in the comment section of this video, you'll find greater detail regarding the various sections of the poster. These including the title of the poster, the introduction section, the methods section, the results section, the discussion section, the conclusion section, and the references and acknowledgement section. Finally, a compulsory part of a student's scientific investigation is to use a logbook. So VCAA state the following. Students record in their logbooks all elements of their investigation planning, comprising identification and management of relevant risks, recording of raw data, and preliminary analysis and evaluation of results, including identification of outliers and their subsequent treatments. Importantly, both the student's poster and logbook entries are assessed as part of Unit 2 Area of Study 3. So it's an important takeaway that students realise they must submit their poster and their logbook for a satisfactory completion of Unit 2 Physics Outcome number 3, and also to score highly on the assessment aspect. This is the suggested template I would recommend for my VCE Unit 2 Physics students to use. It's got the compulsory VCAA headings, and let's now have a look at how to fill this in order to maximise your scoring opportunity on this particular assessment. So the introduction. In the introduction, we want to include an explanation of the relevant background physics concepts, and that may include relevant images, equations and definitions, etc. Also want to include supporting evidence to explain experimental context. Within the introduction, we also want to state a clear aim and a hypothesis and/or prediction, using the if, then, because structure. Importantly, the word count for the entire introduction, including the aim and hypothesis, will be approximately 200 to 250 words. Our next section is the methodology. In your method description, you must include a diagram and/or annotated image that illustrates the equipment setup, a flowchart that summarizes the method description, and also enough information for someone unfamiliar with the experiment to replicate it. Importantly, there's no word count for this particular section of the report. The selection of a flowchart is a really efficient way to visually communicate the methodology chosen. Our next section on the poster is the results section. Students are reminded to present collected data and evidence in a way that illustrates any trends, patterns, and/or relationships. They're required to think about the most appropriate way to present data that they've collected. They need to check that they have followed appropriate scientific conventions. Each graph or table or image needs to have a title and a number. For example, graph number 1, table number 1, so it can be easily referred to in the discussion. Graphs should have the independent variables on the horizontal, that is x-axis, and the dependent variables on the vertical, that is y-axis. And both axes should be labelled, including appropriate units of measurement. So all students need to include a fully labelled graph for this section of their report. Once again, there is no contribution towards the word count. Our next section is the discussion. Students remember to write a sentence or two to describe the key features in the presented data displayed in the graph, to analyze and evaluate the results to identify any trends, patterns, relationships that may exist between the variables under investigation. Students need to also only mention correlations and links between the variables if there is evidence of this in the results obtained. They need to link the results to any relevant scientific concepts, including any previous findings in this field, appropriately referenced. Students need to identify any outliers and their subsequent treatments. Students need to identify any limitations in data and methods, for example, experimental error, and suggested improvements. And finally, students should suggest an appropriate coupled investigation. This section has a word count of approximately 250 to 300 words. Our next section, the conclusion. Students are asked to keep their conclusion brief and ensure it responds to the hypothesis and/or the investigation question. Only determine your conclusion from the data obtained in the investigation, and to take into account any uncertainties or errors identified in the discussion. The word count for the conclusion is somewhere between 30 to 50 words. It's pretty short and concise. Finally, our key one-sentence statement in the center of our poster that takes up 20 to 25% of the overall space. So we need to provide a communication statement reporting the key findings of the investigation as a one-sentence summary. This should be somewhere between 10 to 15 words. So there you have it. That's the structure. That's the suggested structure or template for our scientific poster for Unit 2 Physics, Area of Study 3. Let's now look at some samples of scientific posters in other VCAA subjects. The writing has been blurred intentionally, but it does show you the general format. This particular poster has a nice color palette. It's visually engaging. The investigation statement in the center is clear and takes up 20 to 25% of the poster. Importantly, you can see there's clear references listed, several references that have been stated with APA 7 standard formatting, and other acknowledgements have been provided. A feature of this particular poster is the insertion of an image, which has been labeled Figure 1. It enhances this poster, and it also uses a line graph as well, comparing various results from different trials. The third and final poster. I just wanted to use this post to identify how the methodology is being displayed via a nice, simple, and logical flowchart. Very good. This particular post also uses bar charts in comparison of different data being taken as well. It's nice, simple, and clean, effective communication. I hope this video has helped explain VCAA requirements for the scientific poster. I hope also the template provided gives some direction in terms of how to structure your scientific poster, and the 3 examples might stimulate some ideas about how you want to present your poster. Thanks so much for watching. I wish you the best with your poster submissions. Enjoy your physics.
You've been watching a Juddy Productions video. If you've enjoyed and indeed learned something from this video, then please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.